And so if there's just a concern along those lines, what would prevent you though from saying, well, because I've heard this, I don't, I'm not sure if I want to get together with them? Why would that be something that would kind of hinder your, because what I heard you say, and if I misunderstood, let me know, is that you haven't decided whether or not you want to meet with them.
Right. You heard correct.
Yeah.
Because of, and maybe I shouldn't. I mean, I was just being very, very
No, appreciate that.
forthcoming.
Yeah,
Very
appreciate
forthcoming. Maybe I shouldn't allow hearsay to influence direction of decision. That's what I've done. Maybe I should. I mean, I know Peter, the director, I should say, but I haven't. So.
Because it might aid them.
It just might, you're right. It can work both ways.
Yeah.
It can work both ways. So, marinate with that a second. That's good.
Yeah, and it may challenge them to think about, how they are reaching folks and how they're engaging with folks, or partnering with others.
Or policy. Right.
Yeah, us being the unique position that we're in, we always try to look for some of the, basically connecting the dots. So the things that you're hearing would be incredibly valuable to them, but also might inform how, we think about this work as well. So just to reiterate, that's where that question is coming from.
Well, I know one way that I utilized in Indiana when I was an executive director there. And then we also utilized in Columbus, Georgia, their housing authority. And that's with the FSS program. Are you familiar with that? The housing FSS program.
Which stands for?
Family Self-Sufficiency.
Okay.
And I wouldn't want to be the one to approach the director. He'd probably tell me you need to stay retired.
Can you make sure, if you can.
Under that, what it is folks that are on the Section 8 program. We set goals for those folks, whether it be get the GED, get their degree, work to get transportation, whatever. And they have a caseworker that's assigned to those folks. Now, initially, what your rent is, say if your rent, because it's based on your income, say your rent is $50 a month when you first get on the program. And then the next year, because you've got employment, of course, your rent goes up. So now your rent is $200 a month. And we don't like to really tell folks this here. But what happens, you would pay your $200, but only $50 actually goes towards your rent. That increase of $150 goes into a savings account for that resident.
Wow.
Okay? Right, and we, at my agency, we've given folks $6,000 or $7,000 checks after they finish their goals.
They didn't realize, they thought it was going towards the rent.
But no, they know. Every time they get, that's the incentive to get them to have gainful employment or to work towards that. So each time the rent goes up, yes, they're paying more rent, but really it's going into a savings account. And once they reach those goals that the caseworker has set, then that money is released to them. But some agencies kind of shy away from that because, it takes a little paperwork and you have to have your caseworker that actually works on that.
What is the money for? Is it for them to move out of housing or?
At some point, yes, but we've had some that actually have used that to buy homes because, they've actually, and if we go further with this, I've got a whole booklet of folks that were at my agency and ones that bought homes because we put it in the newspaper, that type of thing. And I'm surprised they aren't utilizing that here, but it kind of depends on the agency and what the community is pushing forward, and you have to know about the program. Because I noticed when I mentioned it, I don't think anybody here knew what I was talking about.
Well, ESR has IDA program, which is similar
To
to
that?
it,
Okay.
to where that person have to save It's a match, I think $50 a month,
Mhm.
something like
Mhm.
that, and then we'll match it,
But that's the next
2
point,
to
it's a
1
match
for
with
home.
that also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that can be used, if they needed transportation, that could be used to go, toward that, because we've had folks that have had vehicles, and maybe the car broke down, of course, we make them take it to the shop, get the estimate, and we release money for that. So that could be some way that we could partner with someone else to help get some of this, but like I said, I wouldn't wanna go to the executive director and possibly say, time and give me extra work. One of
Question,
you guys could.
question. The people that you're working with now, what type of skills and talents do they have?
Wow.
About you, Rick?
You wanna start with Rick first, or what?
It doesn't matter.
You go.
I've had folks that, initially started off with me as what I call just a general labor, cleanup man. And, I've, instructed them on how to lay carpet, of course, paint, carpentry. Now, carpentry takes a while. You can train a person to paint, do sheetrock, in a good year. It just depends. I've had some folks that have some of the skills, but because of their criminal record, they are unable to get gainful employment. And then, just like one gentleman I coached, and he had gotten in trouble, done a little time, and I happened to see him since I've come back home. He said, Coach Hunt, I wish I'd listened to you. He said, I got in trouble. He said, I've done my time. He said, but he said, I've got a daughter now. And he said, I go out here and fill out these applications, and the first thing's on it, do you have a criminal record? And as soon as I checked that, it's ball game, so why am I wasting my time? He said, Coach Hunt, I don't wanna get back out there, but my kids, they're not gonna go hungry. So that goes into the point with some folks, what we're saying, we'd like to put them in a position where they can do their own thing, start their own painting company, do their, plumbing, handyman, this type of thing, where they can have income coming in. Because unfortunately, the way the establishment is, one strike you out.
But to Brett's observation, that can't really work efficiency without dependable transportation. I wouldn't care how many good contracts a person has, if you can't get to satisfy those contracts, you just not getting the job done.
Oh, you can't get, I can't get to my jobs, I can't pick
You
up
can't
all
pick,
the
can't
time.
pick up everybody
That's
all the
right.
time, that's right.
So, I hope that answers. It's a range. It's a range, there's just so many people have so many different needs out there.
So for you, a success story for you would be somebody becoming gainfully employed or starting their own business through training that you would provide.
Exactly.
And, a lot of, we talked about capacity building. Is that then an opportunity for you to train a trainer so that person to turn around and do the same to build your capacity? Have you
Yes,
explored
it
that at
would
all?
be. Yeah, that's a good point, yes. Good point. Good point.
So I'm also keeping an eye on the clock, but, is there anything else that, you'd like for us to consider about this type of work or opportunities that you're looking to pursue?
I think it's been laid out.
Questions from anybody else?
Question.
Sure.
What are your short-term goals for this business you're in? And what are your long-term goals?
For my private business,
Well, what are you trying to
for
do
what we
now?
try to do here,
Yes.
We just trying to make the
Get as many
community better.
folks
That's-
off the
that's
streets
bottom
we
line.
can.
Just trying to make the community that we grew up in
Better.
better.
That's the goal, really.
You know, and especially
We-
with these
we-
younger folks.
Right, and we talked about outcomes in terms of numbers of people, but that's sort of a numerical kinds of target. The reality is, you know, and I'm sure you know this, and everybody knows, what these communities were when we grew up, 50s and 60s, is not the communities that it is now. So we've tried to devise an approach, a very personal approach, to try to help turn the needle a little bit. That's the bottom line. Gotta get any more real than that.
If people have a sense of dependability, that there's someone they can call and count on, that's reassuring in and of itself. And when they see others that are doing this thing, that are responsible and have character and are doing things with integrity, that tends to have a ripple effect.
And I don't know if this has really been said or not, but with actually being within the community and knowing folks, and hear what I'm saying. You know the folks that are really trying and want to do better versus the ones that still just trying to play the system while I get me a free ride today.
That's exactly right. You know,
You know,
and it's easy to distinguish the two.
you know, because we have some, I have some, it's a waste of time, you know. You know, Coach Hunt, can I get a few dollars right now, and I'll be here first thing in the morning.
I don't think so.
Question to what you just said. You say you know the people and you know when they just try to get a $2. Do you have a screening process?
Not formally at this point in time.
This is a first, this is gonna be a first time effort. We are not doing this in a formal way yet.
We'll be developing
If
this.
you all
as
were
we-
to fund us, then yes, we would do that. What is being done now is the individual efforts. This, what we put together, is trying to put structure to that. So to answer you, I can't be any more direct. No, we don't have a formal screening process yet.
Thank you.
Well,
And for myself, I use more so of a gut feeling, who, you know, what the person is trying to do or what they say they're trying to do, how they respond to what I put out there. Like I say, you can tell if you've been out there long enough, you know when somebody's pulling your leg and just trying to get over. You know. If I tell the guy, okay, well, be here 8 o'clock in the morning and we'll get something done, you know. If he's knocking on my door at 7:30,
You mean,
he's serious.
He's serious. I've got one guy, he texts me every day, you got any work for me today, Mr. Hunt? So, you know. And it's so many, you know, I just wanna say one thing, and I know you're looking at the time, and it's just,
I ain't looking at
it just came.
Oh, yeah.
The name, when I say this, Mo, you're gonna recognize it. A friend of ours named Fowler, he's no longer here. And while I was in Indiana, of course, I'd come back home, because I have, you know, homes and some stuff here. And he used to sell papers up there across from the Coliseum every Sunday. And I would stop some whenever I was in town, he'd like, hey, Mr. Hunt. I said, Fowler, what you call me, Mr. Hunt? I'm Hunt, man. Matter of fact, he was our quarterback. Gave him Absent. And he'd gotten in some problems, and lost his job, lost his family, and was staying in a vacant house. And at the time, I was thinking about turning one of my homes into a rooming house when that was the popular thing to do. It's not now. And I said, well, tell you what, Fowler, I'm gonna turn one of my houses into a rooming house. If you manage it for me, I'll let you stay in one of the rooms. I'll be glad to, and I took him to Borders and Groves and stuff, took him to Jimmy's to cut his hair. he hadn't cut his hair in over a year, you know. Paid for him to stay in the week at Green Valley Hotel, you know, to get him, you know, I told him I'd be back that next week. Well, something came up at the job. We had one of our apartments caught on fire up there, so I wasn't able to make it till the next week. So I came back that next weekend, and just so happened the guy that cut his hair lived in the neighborhood, Jimmy. And he was, you know, I spoke to him. I said, "Hey man, what you doing?" He's in his backyard. He was looking up and I said, "You know what you doing?" You know, he told me, "Oh, what you doing?" I said, "Back in town." He said, "Hey man, you heard about your boy?" I said, "Oh." He said, "The guy that you brought into the barber shop, you know, went to Parkland rather than Atkins." We went to Parkland. I said, "No." I said, "Matter of fact, I'm looking for him now." He said, "Man, they found him dead up under a bridge. Somebody cut his throat." And what's so ironic about it, I bought him, you know, clothes and stuff, and he left his coat, and in it, he had this thing where he had his knife and stuff in that he left. And come to find out, with him staying in that room, he lost his place in that vacant house. So that's why he wound up staying up under the bridge. And he had a few dollars in his pocket, and they cut his throat and killed him. You know.
Okay, and the moral of that story is.
Well, the moral of the story is, I told you that whole long story.
Come on.
You never know who you're trying to help. I got a call from another gentleman of ours, friend of ours, a guy named Ron, who's all the way in California. And his point was, he said, "Hunt, we appreciate you trying to help Fowler, man." You know, he said, because that really gave him, you know, the second chance. You know, he was talking about he's going to be able to work for you and blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that, you know. And I said, "Well, how you know?" He said, "That's our cousin." But the point is, he had told his whole family, "Hey, I got me a job."
Okay, thank you.
That's the point.
Okay, thank you.
It's a long story to get to that point.
Okay.
I had to tell that, man. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's
Just had to. Okay, you ready?
Well, thank you, I appreciate it. In terms of process, if you have any other questions for me, just feel free to reach out to me directly. I know you have my information, but just giving us the opportunity to share this with the rest of the Impact Council members who couldn't be here, so appreciate your time.
Thanks,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
What happened to Noel? Maybe she got class or something.
So, okay.
Yeah. 10 o'clock, I think you.
He's a good guy.
Today.
He's on our board for.
Yeah, imprints.
Okay. So,
Imprints.
yeah. Hold on.
Yeah.
Imprints cares is.
I'm feeding my dog. She's probably like, "Where's Mama?"
I'll bump into him.
Good to see you.
I know.
Hi.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's the first. Imprints is taking place
All right, thanks.
at
Thank you.
Solid, or no, tomorrow's the first.
Put things on
I'm sorry, today's the 29th.
I'm fine.
Cancer Services, I'm sorry. Cancer Services at Solid Rock. Baptist Church. Yeah, it's on the corner of, it's Carver School Road and, Walkertown? Yeah, 10 o'clock. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Well,
potential, because you kind of list who, and that way people just, hey, why are we?
And that's.
I know that's a question. Yeah, but even the first couple of question marks. Thank you. Just puts that.
Hey, I'm just seeing if we're here. I'm here with John Boy. Y'all still there?